RTD Live Talk, Detroit's #1 late night YouTube talk show, coming in for a somewhat of a midday live stream. But I wanted to check in just because I've been looking at the charts and some graphs today, and I noticed a couple of things I wanted to bring to your attention, as well as comment on this current Bitcoin mania, it looks like. And so I hope everyone is doing well. Had a great Christmas yesterday. And yeah, so let's talk for a little bit, man. Won't be on long, but just wanted to check in, share with you a couple of graphs here that caught my attention, as well as get your thoughts on what's going on in the Bitcoin mania and how on the surface, it appears to be that this current mania of Bitcoin price action is really stealing precious metals shine a little bit, but yet don't lose hope for all those stackers out there. It's just the beginning for all this that we're experiencing now. So let me check in via chat. As always, if we have any new viewers, let me know where you're watching from, and then we'll dive right into it. Eddie J says, Mike for president. I appreciate that, my man, but I don't think I want that job. We got JJ, we got Rain Bird. Says AT&T server. So who destroyed the AT&T servers in Nashville and why? Good. Okay, we can touch on that as well. I got a couple of thoughts I want to share there. Sparing a Dime, Nathaniel. We got Keston, Philman, Jay, Barlight Broker, Daryl Burks. How you guys doing, man? Hope everyone is doing well. And yeah, interesting times we're in. And so let me just touch on for a quick moment that terrorist attack, basically what it is that happened in Nashville. And so just other than just covering and scanning the surface, haven't really dived into it much, just because it looks like they're still trying to investigate and come up with all the details that they would like to give us for us to run with. But how you doing, Brian from Maine? How you doing? Jim Diggs says, why do I listen to Peter Schiff? So, you know, we're going to touch on that. I got a couple of things I want to touch on, but let me just touch on Nashville for a quick second. And then, of course, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Open up the phone lines in a quick minute. But the Nashville situation, I was actually having a conversation earlier about that. And just my initial thoughts on that is that the very first time I heard about a bombing from a RV in front of the AT&T building, and it looks like, you know, some of the servers or the fiber optics cables or whatnot. And of course, through watching Twitter, I see some things trending as to how that was, of course, a deliberate act, because the RV happened to be above ground to two tunnels that carries or house a good portion of the fiber optic cables or whatnot. So we can go down that trail if you want. But my initial thought was, it's just a warning sign. Literally, it's just a warning sign. And of course, none of this is just by accident. Here we are, 19 years after the war on terror was officially started. And of course, we haven't had anything on our soil of this magnitude in quite some time. And the reason I believe it's just more so a warning is because outside of, you know, minimum casualties, I'm not even sure what the final toll of individuals impacted by that, but it was relatively small in comparison to what I think it could have been, or what it might have been had there been more people out in the streets or whatnot. But long story short, I think what's coming in 2021, you know, today or yesterday's activity or that day activity was a warning sign for what is to come in our future, because I think a lot of the overall agenda of further scaring the people, as well as positioning the government and all those agencies further into our lives, it would help them to do such by saying that there's a terrorist threat or more sleeper cell type of activity that could possibly pop up. So I think 2021, unfortunately, might be a time where we see more of those events. You know, Lord willing, we do not. But also on a political front, it could have been a fire, like a warning shot towards the Trump side of things to derail him and to show him who's still in charge, and if he doesn't do this or that, you know, how that stuff could go. So that's just my initial thoughts there. And so beyond that, everything is still relatively, you know, too soon to really speculate further. But as always, I know you guys are well informed as well as in tune with your thoughts. So definitely call in and we can touch on that for a minute. But what I want to talk about today was, of course, how can you not recognize or see the price action when it comes to the very first decentralized cryptocurrency that was given to the world after the great financial crises of 08, 09. And here we are today, 10 years later. And I'm thinking about, of course, as I've always mentioned, from being a skeptic all along, that we're at this point, not by mistake, but it's intentional, because I think heading into 2021, them, meaning individuals that are trying to orchestrate this transition, are definitely benefiting very well from this current ramp up in the price action. And I came across some things earlier that I might not be able to find, but it talks about how the banks, some of the too big to fail banks, have invested heavily into the infrastructure for cryptocurrencies to do quite well in the days ahead, by owning shares in all these other companies that oversee a lot of the projects that are being brought to the surface. So definitely the banks are involved. They're being heavily compensated for their contribution to this sector as well. But one thing I noticed in regards to the price action is that I'll actually pull this on the screen here. And I was looking at how, based upon the price action now, with there being a continuation of Bitcoin reaching an all-time high within the same day, ultimately went from 25,000 plus to 26,000 plus. And so we're being set up for a continuation of this price action. But yet one of the things that's very interesting is that if you look at it from how many Federal Reserve notes it costs or it takes to actually acquire an entire Bitcoin, it's ultimately the destruction of the purchasing power of the Federal Reserve note as well as currencies globally. And when I end up inverting one of these graphs here, I saw something that really brought this home as far as the end destination for fiat currencies, and not fiat currency game. And I think it's all a part of their deliberate plan to make sure that they have a way. I mean, the banks and the financial institutions and all the heavy hitters that are definitely getting in this game or have already been in the game, they're going to profit well. And of course, for the audience here, a lot of people are precious metals enthusiasts. So I can imagine how on one side you see in this newly created digital blip of ones and zeros and a protocol and a blockchain going that way, and metals are relatively stagnant in nature. But be of good cheer, my people. Ultimately, the metals, as we move forward, they're still of extreme importance in this transfer of wealth, and they will have their day in the sunshine. It's just that right now, unfortunately, they're not getting as much attention, which also could be a good thing. And I'm going to share with you why that is. Okay, so let me actually pull up some graphs here, man. I want to show you some things here and then get your thoughts on this. And one thing that I find extremely interesting is that when I look up some ratios, just to get an idea as to what's moving in comparison to something else. And of course, this is all about price action, which ultimately boils down to purchasing power of the fiat currency. So Bitcoin is really exposing the destruction of purchasing power within fiat currencies in a major way. And the reason I say that is, if you look on this chart here we just have the Bitcoin to the USD chart. So ultimately, the journey of Bitcoin priced in fiat and Federal Reserve notes. And as we can see here, this thing is literally, so in 10 years of this item or digital asset being available to the public to purchase, here we have an all-time new high of whatever it is at this current moment. I was on 26,528. And so it's literally 10 years into the game, and it's extremely undervalued in comparison to what the price will be as we move further, as more nations, as more people around the world look to get a piece of this small pie overall. But yet when you look at the price action or the minimum purchasing power of fiat currencies, it tells a much different story. So I'm actually going to switch it up a little bit and give you guys a different angle of something to look at. When you look at the gold, Bitcoin to gold ratio, as far as how many ounces you can actually purchase. And of course, this is all within a 10-year span here. But we have the last rally of 2017 where you could approximately purchase, give or take, the 12, 13, how many ever ounces of gold. So basically, one single Bitcoin would get you 12 to 13 ounces of gold. And here we are today. We're approaching that number, or actually surpassed that number at about 15 ounces of gold for one Bitcoin. And we do the same thing for silver. It's about 1,000 ounces of silver for one Bitcoin. And one thing I noticed that's trending right now on Twitter is the actual surpassing Bitcoin having surpassed all the other financial institutions. And so here is a graph that I grabbed off Andrew Pop, one of the Bitcoin people, but it talks about how Bitcoin has now surpassed all the financial service companies by market cap. And so it surpassed Visa, JP Morgan Chase, MasterCard, PayPal, Bank of America, ICBC, China, or everything else. And so, mind you, at this current moment, 473 billion is crumbs in comparison to the complete market cap of gold, and partially, it's around the silver market cap. And so it further shows to me how precious silver is in regards to the total above ground supply priced in dollars. It's around that price for Bitcoin, but yet it still has, gold still, still has a long way to go to catch gold, but it still is getting there. And so what this tells me is that this mania is literally just beginning in a sense. But then again, most people right now are thinking about how the current price of Bitcoin is probably getting away from them if they didn't get in early, or being able to just grab an entire coin in of itself. That's what most people think is of importance. If you don't have a single coin, then you're probably missed out. But as I just mentioned here, it hasn't really even begun yet in comparison to the other assets out there that have been used as safe haven hedges for the last umpteen years. And of course, gold and silver have been the primary mediums of exchange that the world has ran to up until this point. And I think it's all intentional, and it's by design to steer people's attention away from the older wealth preservation vehicles, i.e. gold and silver. But of course, it can't replace gold and silver. It's just more so serving as a new age distraction, especially for all the financial institutions that would take advantage of the technology, as well as all the funds that will be transferred out of this dying monetary system into the new. Okay. But yet, once again, gold and silver is not going anywhere. And so I think what will ultimately really drive the price action even further is when other currencies and other people realize their currencies are extremely at risk of continuing to lose purchasing power. That right there will create even a greater flood of currency into the Bitcoin market. And what that basically means is, for those that are utilizing and are aware of the crypto space and have used it from day one as ways of taking advantage of this deliberate drive towards the digital world, and being able to actually take some of those gains and some of those profits and turn it back into something physical and tangible, you're going to be able to accumulate a lot more physical weight at the end of the day. And as we've always said before, weight, unfortunately, or to our benefit, will not be going to zero, whereas there'll be a lot more fluctuations in the price of the digital assets along the way. But yet you'll be able to accumulate more weight as we move forward. And so I'm going to show you guys here some things that caught my attention. So when you just look at the amount of metal of gold you can purchase per Bitcoin, when you look at it from the USD standpoint and you invert it, if you invert this graph here, you'll see something looks very familiar, which a lot of people, those that are awake and aware are aware of the destruction of the Federal Reserve note. And I don't really even refer to it as a dollar anymore, because to me, a dollar ultimately, if you look at it from a historical standpoint, is one of these items right here. And so this right here, this is a dollar, if you want to look at it from a technical standpoint based upon history. So the dollar in of itself, that right there, is doing just fine. It's just those Federal Reserve notes that are being poorly manipulated at this current moment. But here's one thing I found to be interesting. Once you take this graph here and you flip it around on its head, let me know what shape this resembles to you guys. And so if you take this and you invert it to where it talks about how many dollars for a Bitcoin, or how many Bitcoins can you get out of a dollar in a sense, it gives you a nice visual aid here as to how the purchasing power of the Federal Reserve note as Bitcoin has increased in fiat terms, how many the remaining purchasing power of the dollar here resembles this image right here. It correlates extremely well from the inception or the creation of Bitcoin, which was, let me see here, which way I go back to this graph. From the creation of Bitcoin around this time frame here, which is where, so it was a penny in a sense, or whatever it was at that point. It has eroded away or eaten away into the purchasing power of the Federal Reserve note in the same format as your normal everyday goods and services would when it comes to being how much can you actually purchase. So over that time frame, it takes 126,500th of a dollar to purchase a single unit of a Bitcoin. And I thought this was very interesting in and of itself, just to see this correlation here of the lack of purchasing power of a Federal Reserve note over a 10-year time frame. And this thing is just beginning, my friends. It is just beginning. But I'd imagine a lot of people out there were probably not as excited because there's no movement when it comes to the price action in metals. And I think this whole transition period here into the digital age, as I've always mentioned before, is deliberate and it's intentional, because the goal is to transition the world into something new and exciting, furthering their agenda, while hoping that people and probably even nations at some point get away from actually depending upon gold and silver as actual stores of value in times of crises, as well as in its next 10, 20, 30-year run. And so gold and silver is not going anywhere, but it's losing its shine a little bit just because there's something in front of it right now. And it happens to be the price action in Bitcoin. But in actuality, it's just the lack of purchasing power towards actually accumulating something of, perceived value moving forward or whatnot. But anyway, there's more graphs here. But if you take this current chart here, and this is just xe.com forex currency situation, and you type in any currency you want, you'll see an all-time high, and of course, in Bitcoin. And ultimately, that is a representation to me that Bitcoin has basically become the, I want to say international or the international standard of value or hedge against the dollar. But yet, clearly at this current moment, the Federal Reserve note has been removed as a reserve asset that people are running to or wanting to actually keep in their possession. And so every single currency right now, denominated in Bitcoin terms, has already surpassed its all-time high, and it's just the beginning of the party in a sense. So anyway, man, I can go on and on and on about just showing countries. So put yourself in the position of someone outside of the U.S. or in the developed world, the G7 nations, where our currencies over time has been eroding at a mandated 2%, even though we know it's more than that. But if you were in one of those countries such as South Africa or hell, you name it, Argentine peso. So look at this. So if somebody would have purchased an entire Bitcoin in 2017 or 2018, it would have cost them 307,000 pesos. But then, of course, we know they've had several fluctuations in their currency there. So as of right now, today, that person who would have acquired one Bitcoin 3 years ago and sat on it, you'd have went through some gyrations here. You'd have lost a little bit of, that price action or nominal numbers. But as of today, as of we speak right now, it is, let me see, it is 2,214,580. So you would have, literally, what was that? 4 or 5x your gains or preservation of your purchasing power through just obtaining one single Bitcoin. And it hasn't even really started yet. So every currency looks the same way. And it's just a reflection of how much less you can purchase now when it comes to actually purchasing a single Bitcoin or whatnot. So anyway, let me stop ranting, man. Let me hear from you guys. But I just wanted to check in and get your thoughts on what's going on, because right now the Twitter sphere is going crazy on people sharing their thoughts on this current Bitcoin. Bitcoin rally. And of course, at the current trend we're at now, it's going to be, maybe $1,000 type of new high every single day. But let me open the phone lines real quick and get some calls. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Mike, Tim, Colorado.
Tim, how you doing, my man?
7.
What's going on with you? How you doing, my friend? What's your thoughts on this Bitcoin stuff?
Well, that's exactly my question. I think it's a trap of some sort, but when you look at the big interests that are, the central banks and everything are getting involved and starting to buy mass quantities, apparently, and manipulate the market to a point, it makes me wonder, because I've heard some other people say, and I'll get your opinion, but what happens if so many of the heavyweights get into it that they can't just make it illegal because they're affecting their own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Their own family.
Yeah.
So I'll let you comment on that, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. I will do so. Appreciate the call, my friend.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, be good. So that's a great point there. And as I've always mentioned, and I would imagine everybody can agree that this current rally we're experiencing now and the buzz around this technology is not by coincidence. It was deliberately placed in its current time and space to do exactly what it's doing now. And all of the, in my personal opinion, all the key players that were a part of this rally or a part of positioning the decentralized cryptocurrency, blockchain, digital asset space into today's market the way that it is, they've already accumulated, like, the Jamie Dimons of the world. Like, what was it? 2 years ago, he said that it was a scam. He would never touch it, whatever. But then shortly thereafter, we saw, based upon some reports out of Europe, that one of his banks in Europe was investigating or purchasing. I don't doubt that they already had some. Like, I think it'd be very foolish for me to think that they already had some. And of course, all of their overseers were heavily invested in already. And I wish I would have posted earlier, but there was a diagram showing the interconnectedness of all I think it was Wells Fargo, USBC, three or four too big to fail banks. They, as opposed to having actual physical Bitcoin, perhaps, whatever, they invested in Coinbase. They own like 50% of Coinbase. And there's all types of companies out there that are not key buzzword or names that people are familiar with. But a lot of those banks have already put a lot of those Federal Reserve notes in investing in the infrastructure of Bitcoin and whatnot. So as far as making it illegal, I think, like I've always mentioned before, Bitcoin, as well as other projects, will be used as a backdoor out of this dying system up until a point. In between now and that time when they try to or decide to change the rules of the game so that the small people, the individuals that have also used this as an escape hatch out of the dying system, the rules will be changed. How? I don't know, but we're going to find out. But they will not change the rules on themselves until they've transferred everything they can into and out of that system and into whatever else they want to have it go into. So literally, to me right now, I look at this Bitcoin movement as literally a escape valve out of a dying system. It's becoming a hole in a bucket that it's overflowing. You think about all the $300 trillion worth of assets, whether it be the bond market, the real estate market, anything that's been given a price tag is labeled as an asset to somebody. The transferring of those assets out into the digital realm and through the digital escape hatch known as Bitcoin is underway right now. But it has to then leave Bitcoin at some point and go into something else. And in that little window there, I think they're going to change the game as far as whether it be taxation, regulations. I don't know how they're going to do it, but I don't see like the actual Bitcoin ledger being around for 10, 20, 30 years the way that people mention that it should, just because, like I always say before, quantum computing is something that will definitely disrupt this technology in some capacity. And I personally believe they already have the technology. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? Hello?
Littleton, Colorado. Patrick.
Patrick, how you doing, my friend? What are your thoughts about this Bitcoin mania, my friend? Is it just beginning or where we at?
I don't know. I don't want to pontificate or anything. I just kind of want to throw out a reminder that for people that are feeling really risk averse, a lot of people are waiting for it to come back down. And I would say a lot of people are waiting at at 15,000 and then 20,000, and now we're here at all-time highs again, almost daily.
Yeah.
And so I would just say, if you feel the need to DCA, just buy a little bit and just get used to the risk. A lot of people don't take as much risk as I would say would be appropriate, just given the way that the dollar has gone down, and just what a lot of institutions, I want to just point this one thing out. A lot of institutions won't invest in any crypto whatsoever because it's too small, the market cap. Once we get to a couple trillion, I think a lot of people, like you said earlier, there's going to be a major wave of larger, like Apple type companies, maybe not quite Apple, but definitely Fortune 100 companies piling in. So at that point, it's going to be hard for the average person. We're already getting to those kind of points.
Yeah, good points, man. Good points. And that's the thing, like, you know, if for those that may have felt like they've missed something, as I mentioned before, it hasn't really started, because literally every financial, every publicly traded company will use Bitcoin as an escape hatch out of the dying system. So, and that's the scarcity aspect of it will play into anybody's favor. And that's where I've always said before, just having like 0.1 of a Bitcoin, you know, is minimum risk now, with a lot of upside later, you know, ultimately. So, you know, I think it's most people probably think about, because I've had people call me saying, Mike, how do I get involved? Because they think about owning an entire Bitcoin. I'm like, you don't really need that when you're looking at a system that's dying. You only need crumbs ultimately, because most people, you know, people who are not financially savvy may not have much anyway. So this could be a chance to, you know, protect a little bit, what a little bit you do have, and probably make some along the way, just to transfer it out into something else down the line as well. So good points, my friend.
Definitely agree.
Appreciate you for calling in.
That's it.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep, be good. Great thoughts, my friend. Appreciate that. And also, I missed a super chat. I apologize for that. It says, thank you for your deep thoughts and input. For one, to meditate on what's the world to come in the future, or the future is right now already. Right now, you know, we're witnessing, I'm sure everybody can agree, we're witnessing that we're in the midst of the transition. Like, I think a lot of people, and I think a lot of the information shared has been geared towards expecting that event, like that one event that I guess all hell breaks loose. Like, all hell broke loose officially last year when, you know, the Federal Reserve began their quantitative easing, not QE type of time frame. That's when everything began officially. Right now, we're in the midst of what is trying to be what they're trying to create as a long drawn out transition. Like, I don't even think that they are ready. Meaning the banks, too big to fail banks, and all the institutions, because they still want to have control over this. So they're not going to just flip the switch all of a sudden and give us something completely new out of the blue, because that would definitely derail government's ability to continue to control or be a part of the transition as well. So it's literally all just beginning in a sense. So, Dead and Regret, how you doing, my friend? Appreciate that. It says, I'm late for the live stream. Mike, do you have a system to inform us before a stream goes live? Other than clicking the notification bell, that is the best way. And I tried other methods before, but for some reason they end up not working. So I would say just make sure you click the notification bell. And of course, YouTube, we can't rely on them, but I'm trying to figure out a way to, you know, hopefully, Lord willing, get away from YouTube to where I don't have to worry about them censoring things the way that they do. But yeah, let's get some more calls in, and then we will, let me see here. Curious to get your thoughts on what's going on, people. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Steve from Jersey.
Steve from Jersey. What's going on, my friend? What are your thoughts on these matters we're talking about?
All right. So, important thing is that when Bitcoin was created, in 2008, the purpose of them creating it was the fact of altering the course of the financial institutions that were being controlled, and controlling the people.
Right.
Okay. So Bitcoin is a technology where it allows people to put their money into the system, and the Federal Reserve and all these central banks continue to printing money is debasing the currency.
Yeah.
So it's a technology play. It's kind of like with Facebook and all these things. The world is becoming digital. The old world of the old is gone. So the kids, your kids, everybody else, all they know is phones. right? Yeah. So the technology is going to continuously advance, and it's not going to stop. Mm-hmm. So when you're using Bitcoin, it's saying that I don't want the old world anymore, and that means the old financial institutions that control the people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that.
Right?
I can agree with that. Yeah.
Right. So gold has a place, silver has a place, but in the new world, the people are all about technology.
Right.
So it's a system that's created that no federal banks, no Federal Reserve, no JP Morgans, they cannot just say, hey, you know what, I'm going to print more of this. Mm-hmm. You can't.
Yeah.
The system is bulletproof. You can't break it. It's the biggest computing system in the world.
Yeah.
Bigger than Google's quantum computing system that they're working on. Mm-hmm. So as you put your value and your money into it, this is a decentralized currency that continues to debase the other currency.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So in essence is, as you continuously put this money in, it's a network effect. The value continues to grow.
Yeah.
Is there going to be fluctuations up and down? Absolutely. I think Bitcoin is going to go to 30,000 in another week, mm-hmm. maybe week and a half. It's probably going to jump back down to maybe 25, 22, but it's going to continuously go. It's a cycle.
Yeah.
But it's going to continuously eat away at all this fiat currency. Yeah, and if you think that they're going to be able to somehow turn off Bitcoin, you might as well turn off the internet. And if you turn off the internet, then you could turn off Bitcoin. But then how's the rest of the world going to work?
Right. Good point, man.
You cannot stop it.
Yeah.
Good point. You cannot stop Bitcoin. It's too late.
Okay.
So if America doesn't want Bitcoin, guess what happens? The rest of the world are going to use Bitcoin against them.
Yeah.
So it's going to be who's going to play the game and who's going to be left behind.
Yeah.
But Mike, I would say if you can invest in Bitcoin, do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend thousands of dollars. I would tell people, spend $1 a day investing in Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And it's a way for you to say to the powers to be that I'm not going to vote for Democrat. I'm not going to vote for the Republicans. Mm-hmm. I'm voting for Bitcoin because Bitcoin is math and you cannot lie in math. Right?
Hey.
So who I voted for this year?
Yeah.
I voted for Bitcoin because I'm not a Democrat or I'm not a Republican, and they keep fighting each other. Mm-hmm. And you have to believe in something. And Bitcoin is saying, hey, look, mm-hmm. this is where we're going. And please follow me and stop following the rest of these old idiots.
All right.
Because those guys are the old.
Appreciate the call, my friend. Let me get a couple more people in here. Thanks for the call and your insights.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, be good. Hello, caller. Where are you calling from? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Who am I speaking with?
Okay, this is Miles from NY. What's going on,
Miles from NY. I'm doing good, my friend. What are your thoughts on this Bitcoin mania?
Bitcoin, man. I got Bitcoin, but I just like people, they need to understand exactly what it is, man. It's just a way for wealth, to get profit. Mm-hmm. You take that profit and you buy tangible things. I just want to remark on what the last caller the caller before said about the old world being gone, mm-hmm. and the old world is not gone. Mm-hmm. This world is established since the beginning. It'll be here after. Mm-hmm. It's paved in gold, man. The institutional money, they understand what Bitcoin is. Right now, a lot of those institutions, those hedge funds, endowments and stuff, they need to make a profit. They need to bring back dividends and percentages to their shareholders and to the people that invested and to all those retirement funds and things like that. Mm-hmm. They are afraid to do that with stocks right now because they know a lot of that stuff, stocks, real estate, they're in a bubble. Mm-hmm. So to them, their logic is if we're going to have to take that risk and put ourselves out on a line, mm-hmm. we may as well do it for something that's bringing a lot more profit. Mm-hmm. And Bitcoin is the premier thing doing that. They're not going into gold in that fashion because they understand what gold is. It's a hedge. Yeah. They're not trying to hedge right now. They're trying to bring dividends back, so it's a difference. But when they want to keep their wealth, they're going to gold. They understand that 100%, and old money teaches their children. Yeah. So don't think that, all the kids are digital this, digital that. No, because their fathers sit them down and tell them, look, son, the emperor has no clothes with that. Yeah. That is a good way to party and have fun, and it's cool and it's sexy and all that. But at the end of the day, it's nothing. Yeah. It's absolutely nothing. You can't hold it. You can't do anything with it. With this piece of metal, or whatever it is, with this piece of land, I can grow something. Mm-hmm. I can rent it. I can do anything. That piece of metal, worst come to worst, I can make jewelry, or I could fashion into a weapon or a tool or something. Mm-hmm. And that's where the value always lied at, even for a caveman. Yeah. And we seem to have forgotten that or don't understand that anymore. Yeah. But I'm not going to eat up all your time. It's going to blast off. I think it's going to go much, much, much higher than that. Yeah. But again, higher in terms of what? Right. High in terms of what? Because at the end of the day, you can't trade a Bitcoin for anything. And if there's a problem with our system and our grid and all this and that, mm-hmm. which we are going through right now, because I worked as a lineman. Yeah. And if you see how the grid is structured and what's going on in California and all these other places, don't think that everything is steady. Yeah. It's a lot of in between and go through people that you have that you got to do. It's not the same, not as much with gold. Right. Yeah, the price is suppressed, but at the end of the day, no matter what they're doing, I can say, okay, look, I'm going to trade it this way. But I'm not going to give you time, Mike.
Appreciate
I hope
you, Miles.
everyone just take those profits from Bitcoin and they buy something real with it. Yeah. Remember, the emperor has no clothes, man. You don't want to be the one that get laughed at on that day.
Appreciate you, man. Good to hear your voice. Yep. Yeah, man. There's a lot of insights within that call there. So, I want to share my 2 cents a little bit. So, ultimately, when you think about what's going on now, as I mentioned before, utilizing Bitcoin and all the other cryptocurrencies is an escape valve out of a dying system. We know that. And so, the whole point in escaping out of this dying system is to be able to bring something along with you in the form of purchasing power. Because ultimately, when it comes to whether it be a fraction of a Bitcoin, an entire Bitcoin, or any other coin, it's only as good as what you can get for it when you go to get rid of it. And there being somebody on the other end willing to accept that. And of course, we know that actual land in of itself and actual tangible assets that, i.e., produce some type of value to humanity, are the things of true value and true wealth. And so ultimately, for example, Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy, he's right now taking the airways by storm because he's turned a software company ultimately into a Bitcoin hedge fund. And so as all this unwinds in a year from now, 2 years from now, barring any regulations or any regulation changes or any technology glitches or anything of that nature, internet-wide, who knows? Because those are all risk. And that's one of my concerns is that, this entire sector of what we're talking about is created by man. So therefore, that's its greatest vulnerability right there, is the fact that it was created by code from a group of individuals or a team or whoever they are. And so that's the ultimate, that's the biggest weakness it has, the fact that it's man-made. And of course, we're using this man-made technology to buy real tangible things, ultimately, which are things that God created. So ultimately, it boils down to digital distractions versus real tangible assets. And on this earth, as we have it right now, there's an abundance of land and somewhat of water, but it all comes at a price. And only those who have the highest stash of satoshis or metals or whatever in this transition will be able to claim hold of all those assets as we go into the next world order or whatnot. And so at this current moment, it's an escape hatch out of a dying system that will be spent into the system at some point. Because ultimately, once you accumulate all the weight or metals or satoshis, it's all about being able to actually then buy things and enjoy that or whatnot. And we're not talking about all the other issues we're facing when it comes to the governmental restructuring right now and all that stuff they're trying to do to us, which will make it very probably difficult to enjoy the fruits of all that stacking and all that and all the accumulation of these assets or whatnot. Hello, Carlos. Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Darrell from Mississippi.
Darrell, how you doing, my man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent, man. Share your 2 cents on this matter real quick for me.
Well, I've been telling anyone who listens to have some exposure to Bitcoin and crypto in general. Mm-hmm. But I do want to address a caller or two ahead of me.
Okay.
It's not unbreakable. Let's not think that it wasn't created. It was created by the government. But I think it's a way for us to, for me, it's a way for me to gain interest, have gains, put it into metals. But crypto market in whole will swallow all asset classes because everything will be tokenized. That's the future. They're already moving to.
Yeah.
They're moving the repo market to blockchain. You know, that's happening. So we can't say it's not going away, but we also have to know what comes along with that system, because on a blockchain, most of them are public. All transactions can be seen. So there's no privacy. Right. And that's why they're trying to get KYC on private wallets. Because they don't know who moves the money, but they know the money's moving. Yeah. You know, so you think about that, the end game is total control. And we have to realize that. But it's also a way for us to stack and get more metals, like ride it to the top. And people are not looking at this XRP lawsuit with the SEC. That is huge, because the Volcker rule was taken away now. So banks are going to be able to invest in more risk things like Bitcoin now. You know, they weren't, but they've been testing the technology for years. And that lawsuit will provide clarity for the whole crypto market. Yeah. If people think it just affects XRP, they're wrong. It affects pretty much every altcoin out there. Yeah. Because even Ethereum has a foundation where the creator had, got a crap ton of ETH for creating it, and the foundation has a crap ton of ETH, and that's how they fund development. Yeah. So that is huge, and so, which is crazy, because the SEC runs a validator for the XRP ledger. But I didn't know that. They do. You know, so you think about that. So the crypto asset class will swallow everything. Yeah. So we think about market cap right now. Market cap doesn't mean anything, because everything will be tokenized. It's coming. You see it coming. Yeah. You know, they're tokenizing stocks. They're tokenizing homes. They're tokenizing cars. Yeah. It'll swallow the entire asset class as we think about it. Gold will be tokenized at some point, but physical will still be king in the long run. So I just, have exposure, rebalance. Everybody should rebalance your portfolio. Ride something to the top, get back into metals. Just be smart about it. Yeah. Don't buy green candles. What other people tell you to FOMO, never FOMO. Buy red candles, not green. When there's blood in the streets is when you buy, not when everybody's talking about it's going to the top. Yeah. Hey, appreciate you, my man. Good to hear your voice, boss man. Same here. Yeah, be good. All right. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, how you doing there, Mike? This is Stephen from Milwaukee.
Stephen from Milwaukee. I'm doing well, my friend. What are your thoughts on this Bitcoin mania situation right now?
Well, I'd like to first state that, I spent a couple of years really looking at the Bitcoin and cryptocurrency market. And I think that a person in this time, just like you would want to have emergency food, water, energy, brass, I think you'd be foolish not to have some form of exposure into Bitcoin, gold, and silver. Yeah. But I'd like to also point out, I think there's two types of thinkers here. Okay. You got people, man, who they're trying to prepare to stay here on Earth. They want to stay here. If they could figure out a way to live forever, that's what they would go for. And then you've got another group of people who are like, hey, this isn't my home. I'm trying to get out of this joint. Now, I'm saying this because when it comes to something like Bitcoin being, created by man, I've been told, I'm a Bible person, so he says this world is ruled by the adversary, the great deceiver, Satan. He's more spirit than he is flesh. Yeah. And we think from a carnal perspective that these systems can't, that they weren't created and designed by not men, but thoughts. that are much higher than.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe anything can be hidden from God.
Right.
But I'd like to point out that I don't think these things that we're seeing occasionally that appear to be accidents, whether it be a lawsuit or whether the price is spiking, I think that Bitcoin's going to drop. And again, I kind of like the other first caller. I think this is just taking big bank, take little bank. They're playing a high level of chess, and we're playing checkers.
Yeah.
Hey. So I know that was a lot, man, but you know, I just had to kind of get that out there.
Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for calling in.
You got it.
Yeah.
You too.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff there. So here's something worthwhile as well. And so here's one of the things that, you know, we're going to find out as Darrell mentioned earlier about, you know, this whole XRP situation will provide more clarity moving forward as to how our government will view the whole cryptocurrency space and when it relates to the citizenry, because as of right now, they're also attempting to orchestrate their plan of causing as much chaos as they can, destroying small businesses, destroying, you know, families and households, as they have done a good job with the shutdown and, you know, telling people what they can and can't do, so that government can grow by them offering to the American people, you know, that universal basic income through whatever digital medium they would prefer, as we end this Federal Reserve fiat system in a sense. And so I think cryptocurrency, whether it's intentionally created by them to create that illusion of a confrontation between decentralized and centralized, ultimately will end up in the centralized format of some kind, because we're going to actually find out how this all plays out probably within this upcoming year. Because based upon the activity of Bitcoin, you know, say we get to March, April, May, and it's $40,000, $50,000, you know, at that point, it's well beyond being able to hide and to hush it from your mom and pops, or even your grandparents. If they haven't already, they're going to get involved in the space just because of the lure of missing out on all this price action, not even realizing that it's a reflection of the poor performance of fiat currencies. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out in the next couple of months, of course. But ultimately, depending on your strategy, and that's why I think it's important to have a strategy as to how you're going to navigate these markets, because as the price goes up, it's still worth your while to actually have something tangible and physical that you can hold, feel, touch, and to use in one way or another, whether it be actual land, as the caller mentioned earlier, or other assets that produce actual income for you. So I think ultimately it's going to be how and at what point do you look to exit out of these digital asset class items back into something tangible and real, because ultimately it's a race of being able to buy back and to preserve and protect your purchasing power and your time and energy and skill set and all that other stuff in one. So enough of me ranting, man, but let's get a couple more calls. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, what's up, Mike? This is Matt from Nashville.
Matt from Nashville. How you doing, my friend? What are your thoughts on this Bitcoin mania?
Hey, well, I appreciate the conversation, man. I just got into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and believe it or not, I've got lucky, but I actually traded Ripple pretty good in the past couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. I had to wait for my Christmas bonus. I needed some free money.
Yeah,
because I've been opposed to the crypto stuff for a while.
Yeah,
you know, I think I got in on it when it was like I first heard about it when this last all-time high a couple years ago, 2018 or 2017. I forget what it was. So I've only seen it go down. I was like, I'm never getting into this. But some ribbon from my construction buddies. It's funny, we're a construction crew, but all of it's like investing. So it makes for good conversation every day. But I eventually got in this past year.
Yeah.
So I got a couple questions for you.
Yeah,
one is, I'm sure you've heard of Chris Duane with Silver Bullet, Silver Shield.
Yes, sir.
And he thinks that the Bitcoin is NSA, CIA created. And when you ask him, I mean, he says he's as sure as Sunday. Like he will tell you what day it was created, who he even thinks created it. And so I didn't know if you heard anybody other than him talk about that, and if you might be under the same mindset that it might be a globalist agenda to push you outside of the system, thinking you're safe outside of the system, but it might actually be the exact system that you're in.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm just to clarify, like I ended up getting it. Like I'm still skeptical, but I was like, well, I got free money, so I'm gonna throw it in here and see what happens with it. But I just want to know what your take is on that.
All right, well, I appreciate it, man. So as you're talking, I actually pulled up my last chat with Chris. It was last year, about November, and
emailing him or something.
Say again.
Are emailing him?
At the time, I was emailing. Yes. So I've had him on the show twice or three times, I think. But our last discussion last year was very good. We touched about. I know his stance, so it's one of the things where I kind of know what to expect. And our last discussion was, phenomenal because we actually got into some spiritual matters as well. But so when it comes to to his viewpoint, I know that he's 100% all into silver. So it's no convincing him anything otherwise. And of course, he's backed up his arguments with the fact that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is all distraction, digital illusion, everything he says, which I do believe that is the case. But I think one thing is he refuses to touch anything in regards to it. And I'm like, use it to your advantage. Like, of course, I don't have confidence in it because I know it's a part of the design plan that they have for humanity in of its sense. But using this game against them as well can help me profit as well in regards to getting my weight up. So I realize that, to me, cryptocurrencies is not the end of all financial of our well-being, but it is a vehicle created for this moment. And so I do believe in using that vehicle. But of course, I'm not like solely putting my trust and confidence in, a digital ledger or nothing like that. But it's good to play along with the game that they created for us. So that's kind of my stance on that.
Cool. That's his language is morally opposed.
Yeah.
Morally opposed to it. It's been a while since I listened to him. My YouTube stopped giving me his alerts.
Yeah.
He says they sandboxed him, and unfortunately,
anybody who speaks against what they want us to know, they'll definitely make sure nobody gets notified, man. But hey, man, I appreciate your call.
And
real quick. Real quick.
And the last thing is, my wife stay-at-home mom takes care of 3 kids, and she was even able to work her way and get silver outside of buying it on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So so people are finding their ways to get this stuff. This is my first year. I've been trying to get precious metals for Christmas and birthdays and any occasion for like 5 or 6 years now. This was the very first year I ever got any. So so it's making its way into the hands of people, man. It's good.
Congratulations, man. Keep getting your weight up, my friend. Appreciate you. Question for you, real quick.
I see, brother.
We started off talking about Nashville and the situation that occurred there. I'd imagine being in that area, in that city, what's the word around town from what you've gathered, actually being in the city?
I heard it was an attack on that AT&T. That was the main thing I've heard. The very first thing I heard was insurance fraud. It was somebody that was going under and decided to have a couple gunshots go off, get people scared, get people running, made an announcement. There was one testimony, like somebody that was there that said there was some like a PA was going off that was saying bomb in 15 minutes, something along those lines.
Really?
And then it was actually 20 minutes later, she was like, "There's no bomb. I'm going back." And then when she went back, it blew up.
Wow.
And she didn't get hurt, but that was the news. That was the local news that I read on that. But a lot of it is, they think that they're just trying to, whoever it is, try to disrupt communications because, like, their stuff, AT&T is down in Kentucky and a couple other places. But that's the big thing. It's the wildest thing. Half of my people, my family, friends, they don't have cell phones and hadn't had it since then.
Really?
Like their cell phones are just I don't know if you heard that, but I mean that nobody's cell phone is working. I mean, it's not picking up anything. And which was I was thinking, I texted my pastor when your thing started up. I was thinking, hey, what do you think has your but then I was like, but he has AT&T, he's not even getting this message. But when I see him tomorrow, I'm going to ask him, has your digital wallet moved at all? Can you see that your coins went up yesterday? Like, do you know that Bitcoin's on the rise, or are you just in the dark?
Yeah. Hey, man.
That's what I heard, is that somebody's messing with all that stuff, man.
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate you for sharing your thoughts, man. Just because it's everybody got their own stories they're hearing across the country, but it's one thing to hear it from people actually in Nashville. So appreciate you, my man.
You got it. I'll see you.
Yep, be good. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from? Hello? Hi there. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Cecil Brown calling from Apollo Beach, Florida.
Cecil Brown, how you doing, my friend? Can you mute the computer or get the little feedback?
Sorry, Mark.
No problem.
Yeah, I got you.
Cecil Brown calling from Apollo Beach. Cecil Brown, how you doing, my friend? Can you mute the computer or?
I got it.
All right. What's on your mind, Cecil? How you doing, my friend?
Well, I've been listening to all these conversations about Bitcoin.
Still got a little feedback.
Only thing I know is that if you can't touch it, and you can't hold it, you don't own it.
You can't touch it, you can't hold it, you don't own it. Hey, I can't disagree with you, my friend. I mean, it's still a valid point. It's still a valid point that some people are willing to overlook and others are not. So that's gonna be an argument or a position we can have all the way through this transition. If you can't hold it, you don't own it. And at some point we're gonna find that out, I'm sure.
And I also heard on the new currency that we're going to get the rainbow currency that Tesla's on it, Eleanor Roosevelt's on it, and Kennedy's going to be on the new $20 bill rainbow currency.
The rainbow currency. And that's going to be an actual physical paper unit or a plastic unit, whatever they're going to give us?
They're going to do away with the Federal Reserve, and it's going to be where it says Federal Reserve at the top, it's going to say U.S. Treasury.
I can't say that is not something they can attempt to throw out there, because definitely in the meantime they're going to have a paper substitute of some kind that will probably be in used scarcely as they transition us solely digital via the app format with the Fed accounts. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they are willing to roll out a whole new image paper currency in the meantime, as opposed to just rolling out the digital app situation right now and letting us finish off these Federal Reserve notes before they completely get rid of those things. So, yeah.
You'll have a year to redeem your Federal Reserve notes.
Say that again?
So.
No, say that again?
Great show, Mike. I'm going to get off here so someone else can call.
All right, my man. Appreciate you, Cecil.
Thank you.
Yeah, be good. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah, so when it comes to them throwing out another physical paper unit to use in the meantime, those type of things I usually question, just because literally it'll be a waste of paper, especially knowing that they want to roll out that digital Fed account wallet situation, of which that piece of legislation, I think the Banking Act for All, stipulated that come January 1st they wanted to have that digital wallet ready to be rolled out, but it was never signed into law. So as of now, it's still wishful thinking that they have on the books ready to be rolled out. And could that be sometime in 2021? I don't know. We will see. But, time will tell. Anyway, feel free to ask any questions or give me a call, share your thoughts. Going to be on for a couple more minutes. Just wanted to check in and see what was going on. Digital Biden bucks coming soon. Biden bucks. What else we got here? Forgot to say I have a Polish friend that said the lead that they are following has led them to believe the expert too. I don't know what that is, Matt. What else we got here? BTC replaces the services your bank offers, no doubt. And so it's once again one of the biggest issues outside of the possible technical vulnerabilities in the whole digital asset space when it comes to Bitcoin is the fact that Bitcoin would not be getting the type of attention or momentum it would have right now as the first and the premier cryptocurrency out there if it was initially rolled out with a privacy feature from beginning to end, similar to like what Monero is right now. If Bitcoin was originally given to the world as a privacy coin solely, it would not be right now doing what it's doing right now. Bitcoin would not be $26,000 right now if it was based upon privacy first and everything else second, third, fourth. So just the fact that the financial institutions and governments are tolerant and also, I guess, overall okay with Bitcoin having its run today and beyond lets me know that as long as they can see as to where those funds is going and be able to eventually through their chain analysis and all those, institutions that are a part of tracking and tracing the flow of coins. As long as they can see who has it and where it's going, it has a thumbs up. But the moment they're talking about trying to add in some privacy features to it, it's going to definitely, we're going to hear more from the government in an unfavorable way to that sector. So when that was one of my biggest arguments as a potential skeptic of the Bitcoin movement, was the fact that it just plays into the hands of those that's trying to orchestrate this whole transition to a digital world too smooth. And that's why I think, one of the probably hidden gems will probably end up being privacy coins in the days ahead, especially if Monero is able to pull off that swap feature where you can get in and out of Bitcoin with no problem. That right there will definitely probably, help those out that are interested in the privacy aspect of things. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Mike, this is Tony from Texas, man.
Tony from Texas. How you doing, my man? What's on your mind tonight?
Man, I can't complain, man. I'm listening to this Bitcoin thing, and I heard what's his name, Jake Ducey from I Love Prosperity today. He had a good thing about Bitcoin and what it's about.
Yeah.
And that they have what's called a patent.
A patent?
In order for this, yes, a patent.
Yeah.
They have a patent for with this Bitcoin thing is whatever your body does, because it's tracking with your body. This is with all this, with the 5G and the coronavirus. All this stuff is gonna be connected, man. If you can get I'm not promoting. We all sharing this information.
Yeah,
that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you check out I Love Prosperity, it came out today, and it's at the 5:30 mark. Man, it goes deep into the whole plan.
Yeah.
Because everybody's gonna be broke. So then this is how all this is, and you can earn Bitcoin by your activities. Basically, it's the China social credit thing.
Yeah.
That's all they're doing. That's all they're doing, man.
I wouldn't say I wouldn't be able to disagree with that because as of right now, and this is what the sad part is, despite the price action in Bitcoin right now and all the other crypto space, there's a lot of excitement around this newer technology of the digital asset class. But once again, to me, I still have that feeling that they're still orchestrating this entire transition. So even though it gives you the feeling of like, man, I'm getting richer or whatever, we're still in their controlled narrative towards where they're trying to take us. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, Bitcoin initially in the whole crypto space, I remember when I first came across it, well before all of the mania picked up, it was like it was meant to disrupt the banking model, period. Now, it seems like, we're waiting on permission and on all the financial hedge funds and stuff to get involved so that we can get, something like, wow, we're not really disrupting anything overall because they wanted us to head in this direction in the first place. Like the caller said earlier about everything going digital, like that's what they wanted. So, and I come across so many different articles and news sources about how Bill Gates is funding so many different entities and companies in the crypto space. And he, like they got us thinking that this is like, something beneficial. But I'm like, okay, be careful what you wish for because they are still orchestrating some things that we can't see. So I
tell my daughter all the time, the word insidious. I said, it seemed like good intentions.
Yeah.
It seemed like good intentions, but in the end, it's not good for us.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in, if you work and you can hold it, you own it, and all this other stuff. Because I know some people with Bitcoin, but I haven't seen them. I'm not saying you have to purchase things. I'm not saying that you have to get stuff, but I have not seen them really have stuff. I'm not saying that you have to have stuff, but I have not seen them purchase major stuff. I just put it like that.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say, Mike.
That's probably coming, man. I appreciate you for calling, my friend.
Yeah.
Yeah, be good. Yeah, man. So, that's what it is, man. Like, and I think, despite the price action and, it can go to 100,000 million, but yet think about the world we're going to be living in because right now, from a governmental standpoint here in Michigan, majority of things that are relatively important to us is still kind of shut down or we've been told what we can and can't do. So despite all the, how much wealth is being transferred into who it's going to, our governmental structure right now is being restructured majorly to where the game is still in their favor, unfortunately. So yeah, today is a day to enjoy it while we still have it, because even though you might feel like your pocket's getting fatter, you'll be getting fatter when your pocket's been sitting at the crib or limited at what you can do overall as far as being able to actually enjoy some of those gains there. So But anyway, man, I wanted to just check in and share my 2 cents on this matter. Let's, let my heavy stackers out there, my people who get their weight up, to keep your head up, man. Gold and silver, even though it's being suppressed right now in continuation, because literally, like I said before, if they were to lose control of gold and silver the way that they're allowing Bitcoin to rally, game will be over with, because once the cats get out the bag when it comes to silver especially, there's no putting it back in. But yet in this new asset space designed for this current moment in time, it's okay to let that rally, because that's an escape hatch that they can transfer some of that wealth out of. But ultimately, when it comes to the precious metal sector, it's like there's more claims on those metals than there's actually metals above ground. And that's a big issue. There's like the $quadrillion derivative markets of claims on things that they don't have is what they can't let get out of hand, because right now so many things have been reapplicated, whether your portfolio, stock portfolio, the mortgage-backed security, who owns what these days, other than what you probably can actually hold in your hand, i.e. silver, gold, or, I'll even give to the people who got, people who actually got their keys to their cryptos. I mean, think about the actually being able to possess in your own hands or ledger, whatever it might be, your private keys in one hand and some of your weight in this hand here, puts you in the 1% of people. Because as of now, most of that stuff is just digital illusions, really, that nobody knows who owns what. And that's the type of stuff that is going to start exposing itself as this game comes to an end in the days ahead. So anyway, be encouraged, my people. Enjoy this weekend with your family and friends. For those that are spending it, and definitely Merry Christmas or Merry post-Christmas to everybody. And be back at it. I'll probably do another live stream tomorrow or whatnot. And we'll see where we're at then. We'll probably be at 27 or 28 by then. So gives you an opportunity to, in the end, when it's time to get into the metals, you're going to get heavier. So anyway, people, be blessed, be safe. Enjoy your weekend. I will see you guys later. If you enjoyed the back and forth in the chat and whatnot, get a video thumbs up, and feel free to share this. Invite people to the community so that they can get informed as to what's going on. And also, one thing I like is the fact that I'm posting articles over on the rethinkingthedollar.com. So if you want to see action as it's happening, feel free to scroll over there and get updated on the price, as well as different crypto articles and gold and silver articles, you name it. So it's all there. And be blessed, be safe, people. And I will see you guys later. Peace. Hey there, sorry for this interruption, but I wanted to bring something to your attention. If you've been enjoying this live stream, why don't you partner with me and be a support to the channel via Patreon membership for just a minimum of $5 a month. All you have to do is scroll down beneath this video here, click the Patreon link, then consider donating as little as $5 a month towards the channel. A little bit of crumbs can go a long way, and I appreciate your support. Now, let's get back to this live stream.